We're live.
Hello.
Oh, my bad.
Hello and welcome to episode 57 of the Player 3 podcast. I'm your host, Luke Croft, and alongside me we have the always visually stunning Larry Hunt.
Hi.
He's got a topic for today, ladies and gentlemen.
I have it.
And then over here on my other side, he can fix you a nice, delicious glass of Pepsi and raise from the dead, Doug Martin.
Yeah, resurrected.
Look, raised from the dead is one thing, but you can't say resurrected, all right? That's exclusive to one man. Jesus
The
Christ.
man Christ
I was
Jesus.
going to say, like, the doctor?
That's regenerated.
Yeah, he regenerates.
If he all the way dies, he's done.
He's just dead.
That's true.
Regenerate?
That's
Remember the
lore.
astronaut.
And then over here on my far right, we have Benjamin D. Hankins. The D stands for degenerate. That's degenerate. That sounds mean.
D-Generation X.
Sugar dude. Degeneration.
My
That's when they tell
favorite
him to suck
wrestling
it. That's
group.
where Suck It was born.
Oh.
Yep. Bret the Hitman Hart.
I remember kids were getting suspended from my school for
Doing the
Yeah, yeah.
Hibbity-dibbity.
It wasn't actually that. Who was the guy that tuned up the band? Sweet Chin Music.
Michaels.
Shawn Michaels.
Is he the guy that died jumping off something?
No.
You're talking about Chris Benoit.
No, Chris Benoit murdered his whole family and then killed himself.
Is
Why
that
are we
true?
laughing
Yeah.
about that? Because of
You made the Chris Benoit joke. People think that he got killed because he almost unveiled the one world government. My brother told me that on the way to Charlotte.
Your brother is a
My brother believes in the
conspiracy
one
theorist.
world government. Milky513 wants to know why the early start. We are having a little Christmas get together with all of us, and we're cooking dinner, and our wives are here, so we wanted to get the show done early. And but also we could go a little bit longer in the after party lounge. Got a few questions from Milky. Got your topic. Hang out a little bit, and we just really wanted to try to directly compete with Colin and Greg live. We were really interested.
So
in that.
far, so good.
I think we are near equal on viewership.
what are we now right now?
3.
Sweet.
All right,
And we are one of those.
that's true. How are you guys doing?
Hard.
Nope.
Dude, I
Not
am.
downtown. Not downtown.
I'm so excited. It's Star Wars week.
Wait, is that what that means?
What?
Star Wars week.
Star Wars.
That Macklemore song?
It was Bret Hart's little brother that died during a pay-per-view.
Oh, all during so it was live.
Downtown.
Like people saw it happen.
No, I don't think so, did it?
I mean, I'm sure people saw it happen.
I mean, on the TVs.
Yeah, probably. I think all pay-per-views are live.
Who's that Mexican guy that
Diz,
died?
Diz, you're a wrestling expert. You're from West Virginia. Are the pay-per-views always live?
Yes, what happened was Owen Hart was ziplining.
Owen Hart was ziplining from the roof down to the ring in a blue suit,
He fell off.
and he fell off and broke his neck.
Oh my gosh, is this on YouTube?
Yes.
They have not released the film on
The family will
Look,
not allow that.
this isn't about what the family's going to allow.
I'm not comfortable with where we're at right now.
Who's the Mexican guy that died on?
Eddie Guerrero. He didn't die on live either.
He died from drug overdose, didn't he?
Well, he died from steroid use and the constriction of the veins and of the testicular region. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but I hear that's what happens when you take steroids. All right, we are the Player 3
And when you wear those
podcast.
tights all the time.
Star Wars week.
Oh, it is Star Wars week. I will not be going this week
I will.
because I don't want to deal with the crowds.
I'm real upset because they don't do the midnight movies anymore.
Yeah.
And why are you gonna have the latest showing at 9 o'clock? Like, that's showing the movie a day before. So what's the point in releasing the movie on Friday?
Yeah. Like, I is it out of fear because of that shooting that happened in that theater at the
At
one?
Batman?
Yeah.
I went to midnight movies after that,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
So I don't, cause I heard they're also like restricting what kind of costumes you can wear and stuff. And I'm like, I feel like a dude can shoot up a theater at 6:30 just as well as he can at midnight.
Well, and
You're right.
regardless,
Maybe
if
better.
you've got an actual lightsaber,
Yeah.
like you can hide that in a pair of pants.
Then it's over.
Yeah.
They've,
I'm just really excited, and I'm real worried that someone's gonna spoil the movie for me between Thursday and Monday.
You already spoiled it for everybody.
Kylo Ren's gay.
Dang it, Seth.
I'd
forgotten.
He is a straight up gay
Gosh,
man.
I really want to tell you something that's very.
No,
It's
moving
not
on.
spoilery.
Wait, did you see the? What are you about to say?
I haven't seen the movie or anything.
Of course you haven't.
Obviously.
Look, I haven't even watched very many previews, so.
Are you talking about when the big
No.
fights happen in the woods?
No, I don't know
Okay,
what I'm talking
that isn't.
about.
I was being very vague, so not to ruin anything for you.
Are you talking about the time they showed somebody on the screen that was in the movie that had a fight with someone?
Yeah. What?
Yeah, didn't they release another trailer
They
today?
have a couple of them. I don't
They
know.
have.
If there's, I've seen
Well,
it.
there's one trailer. The rest are teasers.
I really enjoyed your tweet last week, wondering if anyone has pieced the whole movie
whole
together.
movie together.
I think you could.
I really do. Like,
There's something I really want to tell you about Kylo Ren's Master.
I'm really going to slit your throat.
I'm
on
not
this
going to do it
podcast.
because I know you don't want me to, but I
But-
really want to say it.
Well, shut up.
Can I do spoiler hat and you put your ears closed?
no, because we don't. No one wants to hear it. Is it a theory or is it something?
It's a
that's
theory.
confirmed?
It's not confirmed at all.
Oh, well, you've already told us
What? About his
who
master?
You think his master is?
Yes.
Tell me who his master has been.
Okay, he's spoiler hat. I'm spoiler hatting for a second.
It's a theory.
now
It's
we
a
started?
theory. Yes.
theory.
Now we're
Oh,
starting.
Theory. We're in theory.
Theory. It's theory. It's not actual like. No, this part is confirmed, but it makes me have a theory about who Kylo Ren's master is.
He
I'll-
thinks
I'll
that
bite.
he thinks that Luke Skywalker is.
No, I don't think that anymore.
All right.
The guy who is playing Kylo Ren's master is mocapping for a CGI character, a Gungan.
No.
Kylo Ren's master is none other than Jar Jar Binks.
Next.
I think that's been. I think they came out and said that Binks is not in the movie finally.
It's probably for the best.
Yeah, it is.
Lord have mercy.
Misa Jar Jar Binks, Misa slit your throat.
Like, I would rather have an entire spin-off movie for Jar Jar.
But
They
the,
probably
kidding.
will.
didn't one of these latest trailers or teasers have Luke in it? Like we knew Luke was going to be.
Well,
in
they
it.
think that he's touching
They
the
did-
R2.
No, I think it.
They did all that I've really seen of him is they released some photos of him in like old Obi-Wan style robes. I don't think he's been in a trailer
I
yet.
really don't think they're going to show him.
Because I thought I could have swore I saw something.
Because he's gonna. I
Let's
think,
look it up.
I think he's gonna show up at the big climactic part and die Obi-Wan style.
I think he's going to show up and just like kill everybody with the Force.
But he's gonna use grip and lightning.
No, just
you know he's
just
dark
he pulls
side?
their life out of their bodies. Just waves his hand and everyone drops.
Yeah. When I first saw the Star Wars movies, I always thought Luke was like a pushover.
Mhm.
He was always just a bad character. And I'm always everybody talks about how great Luke is, and I'm always like,
I
oh,
love
Luke's
him in
just
episode
awful.
6. He wasn't pushed.
Well, he's good in 6,
He's
but
like
the first two.
arrogant in that one even.
Who was?
Luke in episode 6, he's like,
But the first time he fought Vader, it was really, I don't know. He just seemed like, I don't know.
untrained.
Well, yeah. But he had plenty of training with Yoda.
Not playing.
Yoda's like, you better not go. You better stay here and finish your training, boy. And he's like, I gotta save my friends.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Did anyone see the oranges that they were selling branded as Star Wars with the little? I don't know what the robot's name is.
Oh, BB-8.
Yeah, it had his
No,
picture
gosh.
on it, and it's like, seriously, man,
You can't replace R2.
let's calm down.
I have Star Wars bottled water right now.
From a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, it tastes like regular water.
If not worse.
All right, we are the Player 3 Podcast. We get together every Monday to talk about video games over here on twitch.tv/Player3 Podcast. Then we push out on youtube.com/Player3 Podcast and all of your favorite podcast services. Let's get this week started like we get every week started with the releases of the week.
Releases of the week. Bap, bap. I know it's not a clap, but we're in the thing of Star Wars. We're going to make BB noises.
All right,
Yes. You're welcome.
not a lot going on, guys.
Sure it is.
Coming down to the end of the year, we have 2 games coming to PlayStation 4, and that's all I got. Blaze Rush. Blaze Rush is a dynamic arcade racing survival game with no health, no leveling, and no breaks. You can assemble a team of friends to play in local or online multiplayer. Adapt your style and tactics to new enemies, obstacles, and tracks. And then freaking Parappa the Rapper 2
Mother of
PS2
God.
classic
Mother of
coming to
God.
the PlayStation
Mother of
4.
God.
Gosh.
Is he a dog? Parappa?
Yes.
A duh.
Also surprising, Tony Hawk Pro Skater coming to PlayStation 3. Very interesting. That's all that's releasing this week. Those are your releases of the week.
Releases of the week. Bam, bam.
All right, that was fast.
All
Moving
right.
right along.
Moving right along. Apologies for missing last week. Last week was a huge week in news, but we're not going to get to everything that happened at like PSX and all that sort and the Game Awards, just because we don't want to cover a bunch of old stuff. But we do have some stuff we want to hit on and some stuff from last week we're going to hit on. So let's move on to the news.
News with the podcast. Beep. Star Wars.
All right. from our boy Eddie Mackich over at GameSpot.
Eddie!
Eddie.
Maggage.
Lawyers reportedly blocked Metal Gear Solid creator from attending Game Awards. I don't know which Metal Gear Solid creator he's talking about. Speaking tonight at the 2015 Game Awards, show organizer Jeff Keighley explained why Metal Gear Solid creator, it's Kojima, was not in attendance. According to Keighley, a games media veteran who is also a close personal friend of Kojima, lawyers instructed Kojima that it would not be a good idea to attend. Kojima reportedly left Konami in October. We know this whole story. Do they have the quote in this? I thought they had the quote. Essentially, he said that he was barred by his lawyers, that he was told last minute by his lawyers he would not be able to travel and even attend the Game Awards, let alone accept the award. It ended up being Kiefer Sutherland that accepted the award for
the mastermind of.
Yeah.
I love
Metal Gear,
Kiefer.
I would argue.
Yeah. I mean, he has been a part of every game for the last 27 years.
How can you hate Kiefer, though? Kiefer's awesome.
It's not about hating Kiefer. It's about hating Konami, which is very easy for us to do at this point.
You should remove Konami from America.
Also interesting within this is there was a Game Awards show a couple days before it that took place in Japan, and it was a PR team from Konami that accepted awards for Metal Gear at that. But everybody just assumed that they were doing that because Kojima was already over here, but he wasn't because of this.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been barred from all public appearances essentially like when he's acting on behalf of this game. Thoughts on this?
He's blacklisted, apparently.
Konami,
Yeah.
you suck.
Konami, you suck. Konami, you suck.
That is, I mean, seriously, they're taking this like to a whole new level with. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. Why you want to bar? I mean, he's not. I guess maybe if they had, I don't know how big their falling out was, but
If he like peed on a CEO's desk, then
took a dump on his desk.
He performed like a boss, but just
like made love to Mr. Solid's wife.
You
or
went to the
something
wrong
like that.
the wrong side of the coin. I feel
I'm tracking with you actually here because this isn't like a normal kind of fallout.
Yeah.
Like this isn't a normal parting of ways. One person is just butthurt about maybe a difference of opinions about something, and it's going to be really interesting to see what happened. I mean, we've been saying that since this came out in October. Well, even earlier than that. But this can't just be like, oh, we had a little bit of differences of opinions. We crossed paths. And I'm starting to wonder if maybe Kojima there's probably blame to be had on both sides of this. And
most things are.
And Kojima can be somewhat of a diva.
Maybe many of the upper echelon members of Konami made love to Kojima's wife also.
Maybe
it's like a back and forth
just a big retribution thing.
Do you
All right,
think-
do we have anyone who isn't going to get us fired have an opinion on this?
Do you think Kojima dressed up like Solid Snake and came into the office one day and just started like, what's the
Choking
thing where
people out?
what's the thing where you just, like can
Folding?
put you folding people to his house.
Send him to a wormhole.
He just- and like it were really high execs, and the people that were left were like, we can't do this, and it's a power struggle, kind of like Game of Thrones.
They realized that the Metal Gear series was just like a practical field test to see if his ideas of nuclear terrorism would work out.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're going to have to part ways with you, buddy.
Right, but then they're
Listen.
like, he's got nukes on layaway, so he's gonna like be able to come in.
on layaway.
It's Christmas time, man. You gotta put everything on layaway. They want to pay it up front.
This makes as much sense as everything else I know about the situation, so I buy it. Yep.
There's got to be some sort of like they had to have been afraid that if he had the platform to talk, he was going to go off the rails. Like that's my opinion about the whole thing is that they just thought, well, if we give him the stage, he's got just a couple weeks left in his contract, which he's probably got some crazy fine attached to it if he does something crazy with it. But that he would have just been like, I'll eat the money. Here's what I'm going to say through my translator about what's going on crazy.
What if they give him a translator that's just like that they have like hugely paid, and they're like, look, he's going to say a bunch of crazy stuff at this thing. Just do not translate it to what he's actually saying.
I think he knows some English.
And they're like, he's like speaking, and they're like, oh yes, I love Konami. Konami.
Okay, I thought you were doing the accent for a second.
You way to make a non-racist
we
thing.
all felt it.
Way to make something non-racist racist, Seth. Good job.
You were so close.
Yeah,
to
you
doing
were
it.
right on the brink. We could see it.
You know,
You were like,
you said the line.
You're like, I'm not gonna do it.
It was good discernment on my part.
Good reeling yourself in
Yeah,
for
yeah.
once. I appreciate that.
But he's just like, I love Konami. Konami is a great place to work. I would work here again. Everybody just he was just getting so pissed because he could hear like the little sides of what he's saying.
I am simply on vacation. Oh man, but seriously, like, it's inconsiderate. Like, if it isn't something just completely crazy that's caused this situation, to take a guy who's given almost 30 years of his life and is really the only reason, not the only reason, but right now it's one of the only reasons that your gaming division exists and can exist. Like, and to not give him the opportunity one last time to celebrate with his team, knowing that he's going to win an award probably, like, never, no one ever buy a Konami game again.
It's
even if they
Christmas
resurrect
time.
PT.
If they make the next Halo, I won't buy it.
Well, you were pretty close to not buying this Halo.
It's true. But man, they made some good trailers.
Zephyr
They
Baby.
made some good trailers right
Zephyr
there.
Baby says, "Ha ha! I actually thought Ben was going to do an accent too."
Cool.
We all felt it.
Cool.
All right.
I'm glad I could bring you guys to the cliff and then make you jump off and not me.
I think you stumbled off in the midst of it too.
Next item on the list, not written by Eddie over at GameSpot. It's written by Timur Hussein over at GameSpot. It says, Beyond Two Souls PS4 dev responds to upsetting whitewashing accusations. The article reads, Beyond Two Souls developer Quantic Dream has responded to accusations that various Middle Eastern characters have been, quote, whitewashed for its PlayStation 4 remaster of the game. The studio has described the claims as upsetting and explained the changes are the result of wider technical tweaks implemented for the re-release. Images of the characters from a scene in a Middle Eastern embassy posted by Digital Foundry noted that compared to the PlayStation 3 original, some of the characters had a lighter skin tone. As mentioned by the publication, this change hasn't been affected on everyone in the scene, and numerous characters appear as they did in the original. In response, game director David Cage issued a statement to Eurogamer explaining the changes. Quote, Beyond is a game featuring 300 plus unique characters. The cast features many different races, including some Arab characters in the scene called the Embassy. The scene takes place in what is obviously a Middle Eastern embassy with characters who are obviously from the Middle East and wearing obviously Arabic clothes and speaking obviously Arabic. What was reported is that a couple of guards and passerbys in the embassy appear to have a lighter skin compared to the original game. This is due to two reasons. Number one, the lighting has changed as well as the skin shader we use, leading to slightly lighter skin in general, which can also be seen on Jodie's white skin. And some black skins are a little bit darker, which has not been reported. He continued, quote, 2, all characters have been upgraded on the PS4 version compared to the PS3, which sometimes led to creating a new face that can be different from the previous one. The skin tone, as well as different clothes or accessories. The skin tone or type of a few characters may have changed in the process, although only a couple of characters out of 300 have seen their skin getting slightly lighter without changing their racial type to keep the consistency of the characterization. Yeah, I just wanted to bring this story up and get your thoughts on it. Yeah, I'll just open it up to you guys.
I don't know. I'm so confused by all of it. Like, I'm reminded of a few years ago when Resident Evil 5 was in trouble because all of the African people in Africa were black, and that was racist, and so they had to make them white. And now these people have made a couple of people a little bit lighter, and they're racist. Where is not racist at? Because I want to be there.
Yeah.
These people are not necessarily old ladies, but the lady who goes to the mall and she sits and she watches the janitor as he mops the floor, and he follows the janitor until she eventually slips, only to find a way to sue them all. This is what these people are.
Very satisfied with that.
They're we have become so anti-racist that it is a charade of.
Wait a minute.
Hold on.
Wait a minute.
Let's back it up a little. We are anti-racist.
Right, but I'm saying like it's gone beyond that.
We have become overly sensitive to anything that regards race.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah.
We're completely anti-racist.
There we go.
Right.
We have become far too anti-racist.
Let me back up for a second. Yeah, we are completely 100% anti-racist, but
And Ben
it's-
politely leaves the room and comes back in a white robe.
Oh no.
it has come to the point to where it's come to the point to where people are looking for something to deem racist, or looking for things to attach a you are disheartening this type of people group thing to. They want to have an argument to make that look at me, I'm not racist because I'm pointing this thing out. And it's just we've evolved to a society to where instead of accepting different races and understanding that there are people that are combating against people who truly are unfair to different races, that we are making it everybody has to seek out an opportunity to prove that they are not racist by making accusations on people who are not racist.
Yeah, and I think it's less about drawing a response from the people that do these sorts of things and more about just having something that you can lean back on and say, look how conscious I am. Look how socially conscious I am, that I can see that the skin's a couple shades whiter, and that's oppression. There's an underrepresentation of different races in this game. And David Cage's response to say, like, did you not see all of the other characters? That we made black characters blacker in this game. Like, and
did you not see all of the obvious signs that these are Arabic characters?
Yeah.
Like,
well, and that's always been an issue in film and those kinds of media, like visual media to begin with. Back in the day, that there was an underrepresentation of other races, even in playing people from other countries. Like that used to be a huge issue. Mm-hmm. Like when Aladdin came out, one of the big issues about Aladdin was that he was a Middle Eastern dude who looked like he was white. And so it's not that that was never an issue, but to look at a game where it obviously isn't an issue because there are tons of other examples of people who are the race that you would expect them to be in the game. Like, we just look for things, and we have far too many actual issues that need to be solved for us to have to go and try to generate one, which is all this is looking and trying to make a non-issue into an issue. And there are plenty of real issues that involve race and the way that minorities are that minorities are treated, and let's tackle those things and not give two rips about what happens in a game that is obviously not trying to make any kind of a racial statement in what they are doing.
Did you catch? It was several months back, but when Taylor Swift put out her video for Wildest Dreams, she was accused of racism because there were so many white characters in the video. But then, so it was. Have you even seen the video? Have you heard any of this? All right, so it takes place back in like the golden era of film, and so there's a Taylor Swift is clearly a white woman, and she's in love with a white actor, and they're filming a movie in Africa.
Is she herself identified as a white person?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And so it's about like this love thing that springs up between these actors, but people were like, white people in Africa, they are whitewashing Africa, which was just ridiculous in the first place. But then the Asian producer of the video, Joseph Kahn, came out with a lot of confusion about how the video was racist since he put it together as an Asian man, and the two other top people involved in making the video were African American, and it was just like everything let's just whine about everything, and everything is wrong, and I hate it.
Mm-hmm.
there are white people that live in Africa, though. Like, I don't get that. Like,
What the thing that is most upsetting to me is that when we create these non-issues, when we create these issues out of non-issues, it diminishes when people actually have to go and reveal some sort of like unfairness or atrocity being directed towards them because of their race, to the point where we numb ourselves to any cry of racism that so many people are convinced it just doesn't exist anymore. But those people are generally racist. But there are people who think, well, racism isn't an issue if these are the things that we're having to deal with, but because we create problems like this. And it's just stupid. It's dumb.
Crying wolf.
All these things make a white noise that you can't hear the other stuff over top of.
White noise.
I didn't mean to do that.
That's the issue.
You're part of the problem, Seth.
You have any thoughts, Seth?
I care, but I really don't, because it's a non-issue. Like you said, it's turned into an issue. I see these things and I hear these things and I want to cry.
It just makes me so
Excuse me.
irritated when somebody wants to seek out confrontation. Like, that's all that it is. That's all that this is seeking out confrontation.
Well, I didn't put this in the show notes because I had forgotten that it happened, and I just now remembered it. But was he with Neil? I think it was with Neil Druckmann. But I want to party with you, Neil. But Greg Miller interviewed Neil Druckmann at PSX talking about Uncharted 4, and they have a character named Nadine, and she's a black girl from South Africa. A black woman from South Africa who leads this military. She's the main villain in Uncharted 4, but she's played by Laura Bailey. She's voiced by Laura Bailey, who is a white woman. And like Greg Miller was talking to him about it. Like, did you guys have the conversation going in? Like that?
What is this, like the new blackface?
But
Wait.
like I guess like the idea that why is a black woman not playing the black character?
Right.
And but like Druckmann talks about how they cast Laura Bailey before they ever had a character design. Like they had an idea of what she wanted to be. They had all these people audition. And they knew that the character was going to be from South Africa, so they had white people audition, black people audition. They had people from South Africa audition, all these different people audition. And Laura Bailey he said they heard it and they thought that's Nadine, that's the person that we want. Then they got these character things together and they saw the character they ended up going with, and they were like, that's what Nadine looks like. And so for them, it was like we were just staying faithful to the creative process, and this is just how it worked out. But he does say that they've had internal conversations about whether or not they need to change direction on it, just so that they don't have to have this issue come up. And it's a sad day that like we have to be aware of that, because stuff like this happens and people just think like, oh, you're being racist, you hired a white woman to play a black girl, and it's like, it just makes no sense to me. All right, next item on the list. DICE is working on a new Battlefield game. This is over on IGN. That's the show notes. This is from Alex Osborne over at IGN. It says a new entry in the Battlefield series is now in the works at DICE, according to the development director Dan Vaderland. In a post on Twitter, Vaderland announced that he's moved on from Star Wars Battlefront to begin work on the next Battlefield. This is the tweet. Now that we've shipped Battlefront and a part of the team continues to work on it, I am moving on to another project, the next Battlefield. So, did you guys get a chance to play Hardline?
No, the beta.
Yeah, just the beta.
I played the beta in the early
I didn't
access.
play
of it.
any of it.
I wasn't impressed enough with the beta to play the actual game.
You're right.
Yeah, it wasn't that strong, but we knew another Battlefield game was going to come. I keep wanting to say Battlefront. There's probably going to be another Battlefront at some point.
Story mode, please. Review the movies. That'd be great. Sorry.
You're good. You're good. But Battlefield's coming back, and for me, I kind of got into the Battlefield series with Bad Company, with the Bad Company games, Bad Company 1 and 2.
That was my first exposure to it.
And I really love the concept of Battlefield, the destructible environments, the huge 32 versus 32 matches, and or is it 64 v 64
64.
Yeah.
No, it's 64 in a thing. So it's
32.
Yeah.
But I really thought Hardline was them straying too far away from what makes Battlefield Battlefield. Like the fact that it was a drug war and not like an actual war. So I really want to see this series get back to the core, like get back to just military kind of things.
Right.
And maybe World War II.
And next time it'll be a bunch of Boy Scouts running around playing sticks and stones and a cornfield.
Seth,
Can you see it? Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry. So
One map will be like a bunch of kids running around a pool with some water guns. Like, psh, psh, psh.
you want 32 v 32 Splatoon.
Pretty much, yeah. It won Shooter of the Year, didn't it? Did it not?
It did. It did. And multiplayer of the year. You mentioned World War II, and I think I'd rather see COD go back to do World War II, like one of the Call of Duty franchises, probably the Infinity Ward ones.
But hold. What about that big scale and like the Battlefield 32 versus 32 and like a big World War II battle going on?
in the trenches?
Yeah, that's
I
true.
would like it.
And didn't they do? I'm trying to remember what Battlefield game it was with. Do you remember the World War II Battlefield game that it was like a beta that you got with? Was it Battlefield 2?
I know what
I'm
you're talking about. It was like 1942.
Yeah, it was 1942. You flew like the single engine planes and all that sort of stuff. Huh? Yeah, it was a Battlefield game. I think it was just a beta though, right? Or
I don't know.
I don't know.
it's been so long, I'm foggy on
Do
it.
you know what they could release with that
I
game?
remember that. It was 1942.
Yeah.
I remember playing that constantly. Nothing was happening.
Yeah.
I remember that now.
Yeah, that's right. Because you were playing, you were like, I don't know what we're supposed to be doing. Like there were flags going up, and you were like, I don't understand what the objective of this game is. But now that you say it, that would be cool. Like huge, because World War II is known for its massive scale battles that go on.
And you get a little bit of it like in the Hoth maps on Battlefront, like you're in the trenches and then you can get up and you got the walkers and the big vehicles running around. But if I could see like a real world vision of that going on.
And they would release a companion app that is a Revolutionary War 32 versus 32 game where you had to like use your gyroscope in your phone to aim your musket.
I thought you were going to
If
say
you
like
miss-
a companion app that is like looks like a book because that's all they had back then.
That would be cool too.
Oh man, Milky says, or even the Vietnam War, something from the past. Those games have such an epic arc that it really gets you involved.
COD hit Vietnam, but the thing with Vietnam is we lost that war. Yeah.
Yeah, Diz and I were talking.
Whoa,
about that.
Diz!
Whoa, Diz and I were talking about that a few weeks ago, and I was like, Vietnam is one of those weird things where we kind of were the bad guy.
Whoa!
Talk to me, Seth.
I don't know. I agree with you guys.
Oh man, Ross, you are QU heart. We try to keep up as long as like what you're talking about is with the topic that we're discussing. We have an after party lounge afterwards though, where we talk about what you guys want us to talk about. But anyway, the Vietnam War that would be interesting, but again, it's like what's the angle you come at it with because it's such a touchy time in our history.
Because they did like flashbacks in I can't remember which Call of Duty. It was
Black
it was
Ops
the first
2.
Black Ops, wasn't it?
Black Ops 1 was in like that era, and then Black Ops 2 kind of went back and forth.
Yeah, it was.
I'd like to see a Grenada game. Just 12 hours of hell.
Mm-hmm. 1 hour campaign, kind of where it's all condensed.
You know what they had never? I've never seen a game of.
Horseback racing in the 1600s.
Oh, no, not that. With Desert Storm, whatever the like Gulf War.
There are games that can touch that, but not any of the big ones, and not in the last decade. I don't think.
I feel like I played a Conflict Desert Storm or something like that. I don't remember what it was though. But yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how big of a fight that is though. Like how big of a game you can make that.
I've always wanted World War I stuff.
Yeah.
Like I just think that's such an interesting time in history. And Diz and I talked about that on 3 Topic Thursday in one of our very first episodes. Just about like there's so many like Milky said with Vietnam. There's so many story arcs to kind of throw yourself into, and it's such an interesting with the trench warfare and really the trench warfare thing would make the gameplay very very unique.
Chemical warfare
Yeah.
and stuff too.
Yeah. So.
Did COD never touch that back?
No, it was all World at War was World War II, and all the other.
Well, they
Call of
like
Duty
I'm talking about
games
like
were.
Red 1, Big Red 1. Like what was that?
I think that weren't they all World War II?
I thought so.
What's up,
For
Diz?
some reason I remember Big
I
Red
feel
1.
like some of these things are directed at me, but I'm not catching on.
Oh no, we're just talking. I'm just looking at you.
It's just conversational podcast.
Oh man. All right, moving on.
Moving on.
Next item on the list.
Next item on the list.
Let's talk about the best-selling games in the month of November from the NPD. So these are your physical releases. This is from not Eddie. Come on, from Chris Pereira over on GameSpot. The NPD group today releases. Well, let's just get to the numbers. All right. Your top 10 games. You had Call of Duty Black Ops 3, Fallout 4, Star Wars Battlefront. So that was kind of like the big matchup because that was the
surprise.
Yeah. Madden, NFL 16, NBA 2K16, FIFA 16, Need for Speed, Halo 5, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, and our favorite game of 2015, Just Dance 2016.
Woo!
Game of the year, baby.
No Minecraft.
Just Dance, dance. Yeah, no Minecraft. Are you
Surprising.
surprised, Seth?
That is a first, isn't it? In a
Kinda.
long time.
I mean, I kind of got used to seeing it there. I miss it. Buy more Minecraft.
Let's talk very first in this about the 3 big releases in November going at each other and Call of Duty coming out on top. Not in that way.
I know.
In the violent way.
There's something I really want to say that's not. It's probably not good.
Then don't
All
say.
right, moving on.
All right.
Well, it's not bad. It's
Thoughts on
just-
Call of Duty coming out on top?
I don't understand.
I expected it. I bought both, so
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot you got that. You just haven't played it.
I haven't played
Raccoon's
video
age.
games in a while. You know what's not on this list?
What?
Tomb Raider.
Yeah, I was watching Colin and Greg live, and Colin was talking about
Oh,
some
crap.
people over on NeoGaf.
Sorry.
Well, yeah, that's fine. People over on NeoGaf were saying that, like insiders on NeoGaf were saying it probably wasn't even in the top 20. Like, and I think I saw some numbers that were like 500,000 physical copies sold to date. Well, in the month of November, and like that's terrible considering how many copies of Call of Duty probably sold.
At least 5.
Lots.
Probably 10, 11 million.
Maybe
I feel
20. I
comfortable
would
with
think
that.
it's people buy that crap like it's gold.
What's that? Oh, Diz always looking out for us over here because we got the chat up.
and a window and a window. It's so
Yeah,
awesome.
it's Inception.
What's so interesting about this list is that while Tomb Raider is not apparent here, Fallout is number 2 on this list,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like when you say that you're going to fight against the game, and your best bet is to fight against the number 2 game on the NPD list for November, that was a mistake.
I don't think that they necessarily. I'm trying to remember the quote. That they weren't direct competitors was the thing that we made fun of the most, in that like they wouldn't cannibalize each other. But I don't think anyone was thinking that Tomb Raider was going to sell as well as Fallout.
Yeah.
Like I don't think anyone was guessing that. But there's the idea that like Fallout wasn't going to cannibalize, which again is still that was a pipe dream.
Absurd.
It was always going
Yes.
to cannibalize it. Another interesting thing about Call of Duty being on top is that with the PS4 exclusivity deals for the DLC, the early release, it's still sold better on the Xbox One. Now this does not count special edition, like Call of Duty special edition or bundles of the PlayStation 4 that were sold. So that may narrow the gap or even put them over the top because we don't have the numbers per console here. But I thought that was really interesting. But I was talking to I was talking to Ryan. I was trying to remember his screen name. I couldn't remember it.
Mad Brox.
Mad Brock. I was talking to him yesterday, and he was like, Xbox is still kind of the place that it's known, like Call of Duty is known to play. You play Call of Duty on the Xbox. And a lot of people, early adopters especially, that bought it for the sake of Call of Duty probably went with the Xbox One and not the PlayStation 4. So I don't know if I'm necessarily surprised by it, but I just thought it was interesting.
Xbox was my shooter platform in high school. Like that was where we played shooters. That was it. So it makes sense, that carryover.
Epidemic HD says just wait until next year. COD will sell better on PlayStation 4. And I think there is a good reason why, and that's the next item on the list. PS4 was the top-selling console of the month of November.
Shocker.
Xbox One, October. They were the top-selling console in October.
Your Xbox just
My Xbox thought I told it to turn on. When you come back, Diz, can you hit the power button on that? Thank you. Because it'll turn the TV, the sound, it'll turn everything on. This is from our buddy Eddie over at GameSpot.
Eddie!
The PlayStation 4 was the top-selling overall console in the United States during November 2015. Sony announced today ahead of the NPD Group's official report for the month. This is a change from October 2015, during which the Xbox One outsold Sony's console in the U.S., breaking Sony's hold atop the charts. In a statement sent to GameSpot, Sony reiterated that PlayStation had, quote, its strongest Black Friday ever. Though no official number for the shopping period were announced. Microsoft, too, had a strong Black Friday this year, the company announced last week. There's been some like heavy discounts on these consoles. Last week at Target with their Cartwheel app, you could have bought an Xbox for under $250.
Wow.
I think it was $243 before tax. Some crazy sales going on. But yeah, the PlayStation outsold Xbox in November, and you said surprised sarcastically. Why is that?
Well, I mean, it tends to outsell the Xbox.
Yeah.
literally all but once, right?
A couple months.
Yeah, a couple months this year, Xbox has been out on top.
What kind of bundle deals did PlayStation have for Black Friday?
Battlefront, Uncharted,
Bundle?
Call of Duty. Is that all?
I don't know. I didn't even look.
Well,
Xbox
yeah.
Xbox has bundles too, I guess. But
Yeah, Xbox had a Fallout bundle.
They have that Gears / Ori
Yeah.
/ Rare Replay.
wow, they had a
That's what I
Fallout
bought for my
bundle?
wife.
So what's that?
They had a Fallout bundle.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, it wasn't necessarily. Well, 2 out of the 3 top-selling games in November had bundles on the PlayStation, so that may have had something to do with it too. But I really thought Xbox was going to outsell PlayStation.
Same.
Because we're getting a lot of people who are starting to. This is really the year of making the leap for people who have not yet made the leap, I think, because of the deep discounts you can buy these things at. Like, this is under $250, like $243 for an Xbox One and a game is crazy.
Well, the 360 didn't come below that for a while in its life. I mean, I think it was like 3 or 4 years before it was below 250.
Come on, Slim Systems.
Seriously. Spoiler alert. That's coming.
All
up later.
digital, is that what you want?
Huh? I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready
Let's-
for the all digital thing. I thought I was ready for the all digital thing, and then, all the nightmare stories.
And then I downloaded a game.
All of the games, actually. Fat Princess Adventures.
Well, that in mind, it took me 3 days to get Halo to load on my Xbox, and I bought it physical. So I don't know if digital is going to be any better than that.
And something I think that's going to throw a big wrench in that is data caps becoming a lot more widespread. My step-brother-in-law, he's having a hard time getting some of his games because he likes to buy digital, but he's not allowed to use his data because he's put them over the cap a couple of times.
Yeah. Well, and are they in a Comcast test market? Is that what it is?
Suddenlink owns that area,
Oh.
but Comcast is doing the same thing.
Yeah, because they They're doing test markets of it now, and I'm like, how do you do the test market, and then say we're going to do it widespread when you have all these people that are calling and complaining to you, like,
Yeah.
But you know what makes that happen, and we're straying far from the point, is people who don't recognize that it happened. People who use it to check their AOL mail.
Yeah. On Outlook.
Yeah.
Seriously, my grandma.
Half of our audience is like, "What's Outlook?"
They're
They're
like,
still texting
Yeah,
on AIM.
Hotmail.
they're still using Internet Explorer
AIM.
and AIM.
You ever seen the infographic that tells you what year you were born in based on what email client you use?
No.
It's pretty great. It's dead on. It's like Yahoo is like the 60-year-olds, and I don't know. Hotmail's
Where's
like
Gmail?
40s.
Oh, that's funny because
Yes,
my
it is.
dad has a Yahoo email address. My dad's email is
What's Gmail?
I don't remember.
probably our
I haven't
generation.
seen this in years, but yeah, our generation.
So, all right, next item on the list. Shu talked about some internet hate. I thought he made
Yoshi.
was talking about some interesting things. This is an article over on GameSpot, but it's about an interview that he did with Kind of Funny. This is from Eddie, our buddy Eddie.
Eddie.
Over at GameSpot. PlayStation Worldwide Studios president Shuhei Yoshida is one of the most recognizable executives in the PlayStation business. Some call him the face of PlayStation. He's also very active on Twitter, a place where he gets lots of hate messages. Now he's talking more about the hate he faces on Twitter and how it affects him. Quote, "It's a tough job, but it's a fun job as well," Yoshida told Kind of Funny Games. Quote, "It's been great to be able to talk directly to people, and we get an immediate response from people, whatever we announce." Yoshida explained that he receives mostly positive responses on Twitter, but noted that some people get really angry. Quote, "To be honest, the last couple of days were tough because I can see some pain from the people who are expecting some announcements that didn't happen. These people feel ignored." End quote. But Yoshida wants fans to know that Sony has a plan in place for when it wants to make certain announcements. And I want to skip down. It says the executive went on to say that hate speech on the internet doesn't help anyone, and that he wants to do what he can to make the online world a more wholesome place. Part of that effort is actually responding to people who send him messages of hate. He says he found that when he engages with people on Twitter who send him hate messages, the unhappy people generally change their tone because they realize Yoshida is a real human with emotions, just like anyone else. This doesn't happen all the time, however, but it's generally true, he said. I thought this was an interesting article. We don't, even with the very few people that we come into contact with doing this show, whether it's on Twitch or on our Player 3 podcast Twitter page or whatever, it seems like, well, we know that the internet emboldens people to be the worst version of themselves. What's that? Milky says, "I used to work for Time Warner just about 5 years after the AOL merger. There were people still paying for AOL almost 5 years later after it was free for everyone." Oh, man. Anyway, what did you guys think about that article?
Yeah, people on the internet suck. But it's interesting his approach to dealing with it, actually addressing them, and that does help sometimes. Sometimes I feel like it makes it worse.
Yeah. I share a lot of like the stuff that I write over on Reddit and N4G and stuff, and I try to kind of take that same approach with people because we dehumanize one another on the internet because it's faceless, it's anonymous, it's all these things like. But on N4G, if somebody's just hateful to no end,
Obviously trolling.
yeah, but like if they're hating and just kind of being a jerk about it, I have seen sometimes when you engage those people and try to be civil within it, that you can change some people's minds. Not their minds about necessarily their opinion, but their minds about how they discuss that opinion with other people.
Yeah.
And but the fact that we have to be reminded that people on the internet are humans speaks a message of sadness to the human race at this point. All right.
It's like when we're talking about the gender and games stuff too, like that they feel free to, in the middle of a game, to berate some woman because she's or some girl because she's playing a video game, and to say all these heinous things that they're gonna come to their house and you know all the stuff that we've talked about. It's just it's sick.
And it's stuff that none of them would ever be capable of saying in person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Next item on the list. This is written over on Games Radar by a famous author, Captain Obvious. Phil Spencer, quote, would be happy to see Nintendo games on Xbox One. It's actually from Joe Screbbles.
Joe Screbbles.
Fwomp. That's how this article starts.
Cool.
That, friends, was the sound of hearts expanding worldwide. When asked whether we could ever see Nintendo games for Microsoft console on Twitter, head of Xbox Phil Spencer replied, quote, I'd be happy to see that. It comes after the Microsoft-owned Minecraft was announced for Wii U, which Spencer said was a pleasant process to work on. And it shows the tweet. And I just want to I want to say something about the article, but then I do want us to talk about the idea of Nintendo on other consoles. I'd be happy about that. Like, what was Phil Spencer supposed to say?
We don't want no Nintendo
I
on this
don't
console.
particularly care for Nintendo.
We aren't really interested in profit margins and doing things that are, quote, good for business. Like, is Phil what other response is there to that question other than no response, but to say that would be great. I'd be happy to see Nintendo games coming over to our Xbox platform. And this is just one of those, like, they took the PR speech that we get from people and they're like, well, we're going to write an article about it. And then it gained such traction. Like, it was the number one thing on the Xbox subreddit for a whole day because, okay, you'd be happy to see it. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen. It doesn't mean that it's close. Like, just because Minecraft is on its 10,000th platform by releasing on the Wii U doesn't mean that we're close to some, like, Nintendo Xbox One merger. But with that being said, unless you want to respond to that.
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
It reminds me of one time, if you're unaware, there was this excellent show called Firefly that you should all watch. And the fans are kind of rabid
Who started
about
that
it.
show?
It doesn't get good till season 2.
Who starred in that show?
Nathan Fillion.
What's he do now?
Starred is a stretch.
Who played mediocrely?
It really did. He's an excellent actor. Anyway, so years after the show was canceled, people were still fighting to get it back on there. I think it was like 8 years later. Someone asked him in an interview, what would you do if you won the lottery? And he said, the first thing I'd do is buy the rights to Firefly and start making the episodes myself. Which is, lottery. We're talking pipe dreams. Fans go crazy and begin raising money to buy Firefly for Nathan Fillion. And, like, they had raised, like, it was pledges. They had gotten, like, hundreds of thousands of dollars in pledges within a few days. And he's like, guys, this is way more unrealistic than you realize. We can't get all these. He had to shut it down because they just took this thing he said and ran with it. That's what this kind of reminds me of.
And the headline of it probably read, Nathan Fillion wants to buy Firefly.
Probably.
Like, because that's just the way we spin things. We take these things that are non-story. It's like the non-issue thing that we talked about, Mega Issues. We take things that are non-stories. Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox, would be happy to see Nintendo games on its console. I would love to fart gold nuggets out because I'd have a ton of gold nuggets.
Do things come out normally when you fart?
Sometimes.
There's an issue. You probably need to be in the bathroom when that happens.
That ain't inmates farts, them's poo-poos.
They're not
Particles, liquid poop that comes out when you fart.
Just in my rush, I inadvertently sensationalized the tweet about what we're talking about right now as well. I said we're talking about the hope of Nintendo on Xbox One, so sorry about it.
Way to go.
If you're here, though, thanks for the click.
Oh, man. Larry Hunt, journalism. Welcome to Journalism 3 podcast.
Hire me.
But let's talk about this for a minute. We've talked about the future of Nintendo. And there's a widespread belief that Nintendo is ultimately going to end up as a third-party publisher.
Gosh, how great would
depending
that be?
on the success of the NX. Do you think it would be Xbox, though?
I do. A hunch.
Because PlayStation got Sega.
It's
It's only fair.
More than a feeling.
Because Sega and Nintendo are equal, So when Sega went to PlayStation, they kind of signed the rights over Nintendo to Xbox.
You're right.
Yes, that's exactly how.
Logic.
Quote: Phil Spencer says vicariously through Ben Hankins that a deal has already been signed.
In all seriousness, though, I think that, and I may be way off here, but I think PlayStation, they really try to put out that vibe of this is the more mature system, and I'm not sure they would be as adamant in going after Nintendo as Xbox would be. It doesn't really fit their image as well.
I see Nintendo games on the Xbox a little easier than I see them on the PlayStation because of that vibe.
I feel like if they didn't try to go after Nintendo, though, they'd be stupid.
That's true too.
Because that's a lot of money in
yeah.
those characters. Like that's a ton of money.
But PlayStation has a market share in the country that Nintendo exists in. That's my only issue with the idea of it ending up on Xbox is like Nintendo is wildly popular in Japan and PlayStation is wildly popular in Japan as well. There are more Xboxes among us than Xboxes that sold in Japan this year. And that's not that much of an exaggeration. Like
They sold at least 8.
So why would Nintendo want to attach them? It would make sense for Xbox because they would be able to break into a market that they don't exist in really at this point. But I don't think it would make as much sense for Nintendo to do it because they would have to. Well, and maybe it just wouldn't be any work for it to gain traction. But would you rather have the install base of the people in Japan now, or the idea that if you put your games on the console, there may be an install base on the console you choose?
Why choose? Seriously.
Well, that's another good point too.
Why not? Well, man, money's be made in both markets. Like you just, hey, who wants to buy? You can have Mario, you have Zelda. I'll give you guys whatever the other things are.
That gets to be like a custody battle, and then you'll never have any Smash Bros ever again, and.
Or cross-console Smash Bros.
Yeah.
Then Xbox versus PlayStation. You heard it here first, folks.
Well, what we
Someone
have
should
to
start like a National Enquirer magazine for gaming. Let's do it right now.
what we have to remember though is Nintendo is already a publisher. Like, and they own all of their IP. So it would be about Microsoft absorbing them as a publisher, not necessarily just buying off individual IP. Because I doubt Nintendo would do that. That they would want to break up all of their stuff to different people. They would want to keep it all under one umbrella.
Or like buy a kitten, adopt a kitten,
Steal a kitten, yes.
Steal a kitten, steal a bushel of kittens, and they're like, she's got this brother here too. It'd be a shame to break up, the kitten brothers. And
You're like, oh, you overestimate how much I care.
This was a very Nathan Fillion remark. I wasn't actually intending that they split up Zelda and Mario. I know I said that
because they are
explicitly,
in gay
but-
love.
But I took it as why even split them up? Why not have Zelda on PS4 and Xbox
That's
One?
what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's going to be a bidding war. If it happens, there's going to be a bidding war for it.
And Microsoft should just back up however many truckloads of money they need to. 'Cause
Seriously, drop everything.
I mean, they gave Titanfall $645 billion.
Is that a true statement?
No.
Oh.
They gave them a lot. They never disclosed how much, but I guarantee you it was a whole lot.
You want to talk about greatest games lineup in Xbox history? Wait till you get Mario Kart on there.
The next year's commercial could just be Nintendo titles.
Yeah.
And it'll be better than last year's game was
Right,
like.
right.
It still has like the remnant of the Wii U logo because they forgot to cut it off completely until it turns to the Xbox One. This isn't happening anytime soon. Like regardless of what happens, and the whole landscape of this could be different in 6-7 years when. If the NX fails.
Maybe the NX is wildly successful.
Maybe the NX is a wrist console.
A wrist console?
Yeah. And it's instead of virtual reality, it's
Wrist reality.
it's
Wristality.
What's the thing where you flash something up into space like the Jedi talk to each other from the
Hologram?
council and stuff? Hologram,
Holographic?
yeah. It's hologram.
But it's that same crappy quality.
Yeah, everything's blue shaded, so you're just like,
And there's lines running through it.
yep.
Yeah. Living the dream.
NX.
You heard it here first.
Phil Spencer.
Beep boop beep. Star Wars.
Oh, man. All right. Larry.
Talk to me.
No, you talk to me about Halo bands. You wanted to bring this up.
Halo pants. No way.
There is
Listen to me right now. do not even play games with Halo's ban system. It is not a freaking joke.
Did you get banned?
For a little while.
Oh wow.
So I'm vindictive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a vindictive person.
Vindicated. I am selfish.
I am dashboard professionals.
I swear I am.
If you kill me in Halo and you're on my team, I will hunt you down and destroy you.
It's true.
One time, Seth met me in a similar fashion. I was getting an assassination in a tunnel, and Seth just ran us both down.
And a ghost. It was awesome.
I hated him. I hated him so much.
I was satisfied.
That was the first time he met.
You've never known satisfaction, online. I've never known satisfaction like just ramming a couple of dudes with a big purple ship.
Moving on. So as I was saying, so
It's like the
maybe you
what's
should
that
carry
song?
a tape recorder around.
Touching you.
Darkness, yeah, the purple armpit hair. It's awesome.
Hush. So people kill me for power weapons sometimes, and I get mad and hunt them, and their entire family's down, and I get booted, and I think it's hilarious, but I don't anymore. It's not funny. So the second time I ever betrayed somebody and got booted, I got a 1.5 minute ban. And I didn't betray anybody for 2 weeks, and then 2 nights ago I'm playing, and I had the sniper rifle, and this guy just shotguns me for it, straight up, no enemies around, just shotguns me. And then he proceeds to, every time I get a power weapon, he kills me, but does it while I'm being shot at, so he doesn't get credit for it. So I just wanted my power weapons back, so I went ahead and took them from him, and then he did it again, so I killed him and took him again, and I got booted, and I got banned for 5 minutes, even though I hadn't betrayed anybody in 2 weeks. I was playing with a buddy, Andrew, that night, and he threw a splinter grenade. If you haven't played Halo 5 yet, the splinter grenades put these sparks in the air, and they stay there for a long time. And if anyone runs through those sparks, they just die. And so if you have dumb teammates that don't pay attention, they run through the sparks, 30 seconds later, they die, you get credit for the kill. First time he's ever betrayed anybody, booted, banned for 5 minutes. And I got on looking it up, and it doesn't take much at all to get a 2-hour ban, and it just gets worse and worse. So don't play games with it.
How'd the guy who kept betraying you not get booted?
He was smart about it.
Yeah, he was waiting till I was being shot at, so the other team, because when you're in a big fight situation, the game airs on the side of accidental friendly fire. But
Cool.
it needs more balance than that. I understand punishing people like me who are deliberately doing it, but my friend Andrew who threw a grenade, he shouldn't be banned for 5 minutes over throwing a grenade and our teammates being idiots.
That makes you nervous because I do that almost every game.
I know, right? It makes me not want to play with randoms. Every time I throw a splinter grenade with randoms now, I'm having a panic attack watching it. Don't come over here! Don't come over here! Why?
Yeah.
All right.
The end.
That was it for the news.
News with the podcast. Boop.
All right.
You're a weird guy.
Before long, news.
Let's move on to our random questions of the week. Everybody's favorite segment.
Random questions. Of the week.
Random question of the week for the month. I don't have no backup singers. Beep boop bop boop bobby boop. Star Wars.
I honestly was waiting for it to end.
I thought it was going to be a little bit shorter of a news week, but we can cover some of these questions because we didn't have an episode last week. So a little bonus content here.
Bonus.
My first question to you guys, we're here at the end of 2015. All the major releases have come out, and we are looking forward now to next year. But let's look back. What grade would you give gaming in 2015? What grade would you give gaming?
I will go first because
2015.
I am a man.
Yes.
A.
B.
I like it a lot. Just like the last 6 months alone, I've had so many games to play, and more games than I've wanted to play in many years. All at once. So between backwards compatibility for the Xbox, for the Xbone, Destiny, The Taken King, of course. Destiny, of course, launched
TTK, yes.
the year before. Halo. It's been a year of dreams, and it's sad that it's almost over now.
Not fulfilled dreams, just dreams. I would give this year a B, a solid score. I feel like we had some really good releases. We had The Witcher, we had Metal Gear, We had we had Uncharted, the Nathan Drake collection come out. We had
Those
the
are
Star
also
Wars
games.
Battlefront. We had it was a good year, Fallout 4 came out. We also didn't have too many games that just released completely broken, right?
Not too many.
Not too many.
There was some issue.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'd give it a B too because I feel like it was kind of a rocky start / slow start, but by the end, like they all got their crap together and it was pretty good.
Well, and I feel like every quarter we had a game come out that was like important.
Mhm.
Dying Light came out with great impact, and that was a January release, I think.
It was early.
We had Bloodborne come out. We had The Witcher come out. I had Batman come out. Like, we didn't have to wait until last month.
Was Until Dawn this year
Yeah, Until Dawn was in September.
with surprising popularity.
Yeah, so Rock Band came out.
So, yeah.
So a lot of good releases this year, and not a whole lot of brokenness. So I'm gonna give it a B. And I told Seth that the B for me comes. I'm a huge sports game fan, and sports games have this predicament where they constantly get held up by the fact that, like, FIFA's going to release on the Xbox on the 360 and PS3 until like FIFA 20, or it's going to be a long time before they drop the support of those things, and I feel like it really holds it back. And so I don't feel like we've really gotten a next gen kind of sports game experience, and until we get that, it's always going to be a solid B for me. How about you?
I'm going to give it a 90.3.
All right.
But a college 90.3.
I thought that was made clear.
So an A, but just barely an A. Like if you would have not turned in one assignment, it would have been a B. What's happening?
Hey, is that your girlfriend
Wrestling.
that I've never met?
Yeah,
She coming to the party?
maybe.
Really?
Maybe.
Okay.
So that the I'm kind of with you. Like there wasn't like a ton of like innovation on the sports side of the games this year, which is a little sad for me. But I think there was a lot of great releases. Everything was tip top shape. There wasn't much mess ups this year. So
there wasn't much mess.
there wasn't much mess ups. So I'm thoroughly happy with this year's gaming, but it's not like 95 potential, like A. It's like an A minus, so 90.5. College.
And I was impressed with Xbox's games with gold this year. Last year it was severely lacking, and this year they really picked it up, and I've been really pleased with what they've had to offer.
I know, Pool Nation FX, baby.
Get it.
3
4
months
months.
straight.
Was it only 3?
Oh, it may have been more than that. I don't know. All right. Another question for you. I want to check in on how your New Year's resolutions in video game went. What were your New Year's resolutions, by the way? Yours was trophy hunting.
I was trophy hunting.
What
Yes.
was yours?
Trophy and achievement
I
hunting.
don't remember. Wait, for this coming year?
No.
Past year.
2015. What was
We
your...
set them for this year. We'll do that this show. Set our resolutions.
No, we're going to do that. Well, we were going to do it next episode.
I have absolutely no
But we can do
recollection
them this year.
of
Do
my
you remember
New Year's
yours?
resolution.
Yeah. Not to pre-order and
That's
to
probably mine.
finish 100%ing Oblivion.
Did you finish 100%ing Oblivion?
I didn't. I made some progress, but
You still have time though.
I do. I still have time. What was the other thing? No pre-orders, and I didn't pre-order.
That was mine, and I didn't either.
Yes, you
And-
did.
No, I did not.
I don't.
The whole
I did.
purpose of the no pre-order was to make sure that the full release worked, and I went and pre-ordered Madden on the Monday before it released because I played my 10 hours of it on EA Access, which is the full release of the game. And 2K had that deal where you could pick it up early, and I bought it 3 days after the early release, and I had to pre-order it to do that. So loopholes. baby.
I'm uncomfortable with what you just said.
And it saved me money because this was the first Halo release I didn't pre-order. And once it was out, it was clearly working fine. That morning, someone sent me that Newegg was having a promo, and I got the new Halo game. It was like $45, I think, 40 or 45, like brand new, the day of.
Cool.
Yes.
I didn't track mine at all, so I have no idea how I did on my achievements or trophies. I think I did good. I don't really know though.
All right.
I did my my thing.
Well, let's set some resolutions for this year.
Right now?
Yeah,
Right now. All right.
right now. Just be thinking.
I
I already
what
have
is.
mine.
I have
Okay,
mine
go
too
ahead, man.
already. I am going to finish the games I buy this year.
You, Santa Maria.
Oh, is that yours?
Did I put that in the? Oh no,
No,
because
there's
this
no
wasn't the
show notes.
topic.
There's no
but
show
no,
notes.
that was mine. I've been saying that.
Oh well, best friends. That's what-
Breast friends?
I just don't do it, so I'm going to this year. Every game I purchase, I'm going to finish it.
I'm not gonna make it every game that I purchase, but I'm gonna make it the majority of games that I purchase.
I can guarantee you that you will not do that.
Well, okay, let me make an addendum to
Let's
that.
talk about your resolution for this year.
Let me make an addendum to
What
that.
was
real
it?
quick.
It was an accident.
Yeah,
It was
right.
digital. We're living in a new age full of possibilities, and it snuck upon me. I tell you, I pre-ordered. What did I pre-order? Ethan Carter? No, everybody's going to the Rapture. And I did it without a second thought. And then, like 2 days later, I was like, "Geez, I'm crow. I just pre-ordered a game. Why did I do that?"
You pre-ordered other things also, because you were like, the floodgates are open.
No, I didn't actually pre-order it. Did I?
I thought you pre-ordered. You pre-ordered something.
Someone pre-ordered things for me.
That doesn't count.
Yeah.
I will finish a game or immediately get rid of it. Like, it won't sit on my shelf. That's the addendum I'm going
He
to
immediately gets rid of 95% of his games.
He just goes home, tears off the cellophane, and takes it back.
It's not you don't even make it out of the parking lot. That's not so much a resolution as like a continuation of facts.
I will change nothing. I resolve to stay resolute.
This year we went and got Dragon Age Inquisition because we were going to play it co-op with each other. I'm like, hey man, when do you want to play Dragon Age? He's like, oh, I took that back like the next day.
No,
And I was
you
like-
said you told me you traded it in, so I traded it in because I was like, I don't want to play this game anymore,
that
and I'm
was
not going to
how
co-op
this
it
went
either.
at all.
I think that's
you
how it
popped
went.
it in. You played 3 minutes of it, and you said, "I hate this. I'm taking it back." And when I asked you about it, you're like, you told me that exact thing. You were like, "I put it in. I started it. Wasn't my thing, so I took it back." And I was like, "Well, I'm glad my 7 days isn't up." And I went and got all my money back.
I was real worried about buying Dying Light because I knew better. And I asked Diz and Vin several times beforehand, are you going to play Dying Light with me? And they said yes.
We tried that. We
how-
did play one night with you.
That's how I feel about Battlefront.
I got about a half hour of gameplay with Diz and Vin. I texted a few times, and then I gave up. And then one day I texted, and they're like,
that's how
oh,
I
we
feel.
sold it.
That's how I feel about Battlefront because I got that and ready for a blaze of Star Wars glory, and you didn't buy it. I didn't expect you to buy it, at least immediately.
What?
Battlefront,
Yeah, I had no
and
intention
you didn't
of
buy
buying
it. And I've had friends playing it on PlayStation like nonstop.
I couldn't buy it.
My wife and I are probably going to get it Christmas time.
I will get
Tomorrow?
it
It
this
was
time.
almost Christmas time,
No?
and there I stood in another line.
I am definitely getting it Christmas
Trying
time
to
because I know I'm
buy
getting enough
Star Wars
GameStop gift cards to
Battlefront.
do it. So
All right.
I'll be playing with you after
All
Christmas.
right. I might be moved on to a whole different game.
Well, don't do that.
Just remember, for every one game you buy, I have to buy two.
Is that your resolution?
No, that's how gaming works in this modern
He has
era,
already
'cause
resolved to do
Nobody
it.
believes in split screen.
Oh yeah, it's true because you have to. I understand.
And then Larry just became a product of the man and
Yep.
bought another,
Man
bought another
owns me.
Xbox. I read
Aren't we
a
technically all a product of the man
of a man,
of a
father.
yeah, father.
But just one though.
Well, when turkey basters come into the
Oh
equation.
my gosh! All right.
Still can't.
Oh my god!
When I found that deal for the Xbox, I sent it to Larry. I was like, "You gonna use this deal to buy your 8th Xbox One?"
Yeah, and I told you, what did I tell you? Dynafire.
Was
That's
it?
your
Yeah,
response to
because it was
most
a
things.
comment on Facebook.
And I'll repeat that. Die in a fire.
What's your New Year's resolution?
I'm still thinking. Have you all gone?
Yes. All of us.
I'm
Well,
not,
I
I'm
wanna
not-
think of a
I'm not
different
gonna
one
make
now.
one because
You won't remember. it?
I won't remember it. I never do them. I place very very little value on these things, and I like to live on the edge.
So you resolve to not resolve.
I resolve.
No longer to linger. Charmed by the world's delights.
I resolve.
Things that are higher, things that are greater. These have
No
alerted
blur.
my sight. Whatever.
Dude, I don't know. I got nothing.
You resolve to buy 2 copies of every game that you purchase this year.
I hate all of you. I hate everyone who makes gaming systems.
Is
I'm a
that all?
sad man.
All right.
I'll think about it.
I'll
give
change
you
mine
one
so
next
you
time
can
on the
keep
show.
yours if you want to, Luke. I'll change mine so you can.
No,
keep
no,
yours
that's
if you
fine.
want.
We can both do it. A bunch of us did the pre-order thing.
Can I make a second resolution?
Yeah.
I'm gonna resolve to, if I promise to play a game with you, to play a game with you at least once before I trade it in.
That's a terrible resolution because you're asking him to spend his money to play something with you.
You already traded in Halo and Black Ops, didn't you?
No, I bet this.
Okay.
Oh man,
Those titles don't
There's
count for
some
my
fun
finish.
stuff
though.
going on in the chat out here.
Also, if any of you listening wants to ever play Dead Island 2 with Riptide with me to finish that up, I'd love some help. I
I'll
know
do
it's an
that.
older game.
Is anyone going to judge me if I just like start picking my nose on camera right now?
Yes.
Something's happening here.
Just need me to get in there.
Listen,
Please don't do that.
listen. There's a roll of toilet paper
Just go
right
there.
there.
Just go there.
I don't know why it's there. I don't know if Luke's taking a crap in this TV
Let
room,
me,
but there it is.
Chat.
Let me dismiss you for a moment to go do that, so that Diz can come in and take your mic and talk to us about a game that he's been playing.
What's he been playing?
He's been playing Just Cause.
Ooh.
Have you?
So,
Whoa!
so everybody,
I'm
ladies,
going to
and,
make a phone call too, so take your time.
I haven't been in front of the camera for a while.
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Dizzy. That's already his nickname, Eating Waffles Cooper.
Yeah.
How you doing, Seth? How you doing?
Yeah.
That's when I just sit back down with a hat on as a different person, and I'm like, hello, my name's Diz.
All right, he's here. He's
My,
here.
my New Year's resolution is to kill Ben.
Oh wow! I haven't sat in this seat for a while.
Oranges.
Oranges.
Are DD4s.
Zephyr says now we just need to get Gary on camera. All right, talk
On
to
camera?
talk to us. Oh, Dizzy.
What's up? I don't know. I don't
Did
like
you say talk to me?
talk to me.
All right.
No, you.
No, shh. Dizzy, talk to me. That was not Gary. That was Ben.
He's
Yeah,
way
like
too
Ben.
You're
aggressive.
interrupting me.
I just had to call.
Gary would never interrupt us.
Cough over here. She's
Dizzy.
Call for a second.
Talk to me.
No, you talk to me about Just Cause 3.
I will. I will. Let me ask you something. Do you like Grand Theft Auto?
No.
Never heard of it.
Like
Yeah.
in real life or the game?
Yes. Do you like?
Committing a felony.
Yes.
Do you like,
Yes.
do you like the video game Grand Theft Auto?
No.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Are you interested? at
The
least?
hooker part.
Good. Well, that's not in this game.
Then I'm
You
out.
like-
I'm out.
Like,
Is that your review? It's like GTA with no hookers. Do not buy.
in one word, uneventful.
All right, Blair Larry, it was nice working with you.
I'm not comfortable with this anymore.
All right. Do you like? Are you interested in Far Cry and like the humor of it?
Far
The
Cry's
animals
funny?
attacking each other. Yes.
That's also not in this game. Well, this is going down. I was just asking two simple questions.
This is going way downhill.
Welcome to the Player 3 podcast.
All right. It's okay. This game is absolutely chaotic. All right.
Much like this podcast.
Yes. All right.
Which I love.
It is just yes. It's cleaner. This game is ridiculous. Okay. I have been playing for hours and hours and hours, and I've been doing the same thing over and over again, just blowing up these bases and taking them over. And this is great. I'm having a blast. I'm looking at my map, and I'm like, I've almost taken over this entire place. This is great. So I zoom out, and I've realized that there are 2 other islands that are bigger than the ones that I was on, and I have never even visited. This is a vast, overwhelming game. What is going on?
The chat just. The chat was very entertained by my reaction. Oh, they're tweeting about it now.
All right.
Do not buy. Do not
Do
buy.
not buy. Not worth it. Okay.
Go ahead.
All right.
The chaos
No.
ensues.
This is just cost.
This is just Cause 3.
Larry has no idea what we're talking about. He's like, is this Far
You're
Cry
asking,
17?
you're asking me so many hard questions.
Have you ever heard of Dr. Robotnik's Mean
It's
Beans?
like the-
It is nothing like that. This is like Ben trying to convince us that Tomb Raider's an RPG.
It is. You play as Lara Croft.
It's like when you buy
You're a role
I was
playing
waiting for my turn.
when you buy a ticket to a movie, but then you get in the movie and in the previews you forget what movie you're there to see? That's what's happening to me right now.
That's happened
What
to
does
you?
it happen to you? No. You don't leave your wife and say, "What are we watching?"
You paid so much money for that ticket. How do you not know where you're going?
You don't walk in from the bathroom and you're like, crap, did we buy another ticket to see Creed?
This is Brother Bear. What the world?
What game are we talking about?
We're talking about Just Cause 3.
Thank you.
It sounds like an incomplete sentence, but it isn't. Go ahead.
It is like GTA in the way you play it.
I'm out.
And Far Cry, and just like in the scenery and in the humor, it's subtle.
Is there any
subtle.
Sonic in it?
No.
All right, let him talk. Let him talk.
All right, pros. You get lost in it. Like I said, I was playing for hours and didn't even realize that I hadn't even scratched the surface of what this game had to offer. There are some things that I wasn't too thrilled about. I was like, you get to swim in this huge ocean, but I have seen absolutely no creatures. Nothing. No fish, no sharks.
Yeah, that pissed you off so
Dude,
much.
I love...
You're like, where's the sunfish guys?
Where's the California sunfish?
Where's the New York sunfish guys?
Predominantly in that area would be the ocean sunfish.
Shut up.
Okay.
Shut up and keep talking.
All right. It is absolutely huge. Like I said, there are islands that I haven't even traveled to. So I'm super excited about getting deeper into it. Okay, so if I had to sum the experience up in one word, it would just be chaotic. Seriously. Like there's really no fear of being killed. You're just going around blowing every single thing up. And it is a blast because that's pretty much what you do in GTA anyway. It's just blow up stuff, kill people. That's kind of all you really do in this game. With a little bit of a plot. A little bit. Just a little bit.
I need somebody in the chat who's good at Photoshop to get the cover of Just Cause 3 and on the header put no hookers, no sea life, do not buy.
And then send us that cover, please.
No sea life. That's the worst part. Like the hookers I can deal with.
Talk to me about the tethering.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So many fish you can tether.
Yeah. I just tether those sharks together. All right. It is absurd. You can use it strategically. The good way to use it is that there are these heavies that have a lot of armor and they take forever to down. So you just kind of attach them to an explosive barrel or to the ground and just kind of keep them there and take them out. But the best part to do is just to attach the people to the cars or the animals, because when you bring it together, it doesn't just pull it. It goes like really quick. So you're just having these dudes killing each other by hitting each other, having cars just blow up.
Just like this podcast.
The tethering has been a blast. Maybe that's the word, tethering. That's what makes it really worth it. Because it's like the Q-Claw. Like you were legitimately going around like Spider-Man. What you do is you tether, you launch up in your parachute, then you put on your wingsuit.
You have a
you just
parachute and a
go.
wingsuit?
Yes, you just go. You just travel.
Seems like overkill.
So what happens when we tether a dolphin to a hooker?
Well, you see, when one invisible thing hits another invisible thing, nothing happens.
Silence.
The sound of silence. Thank you, Simon and Garfunkel.
But the game's fun.
Oh, it's been a blast. But it's more of a time killer to me. Like, it's really kind of hard to continue on the plot, continue on the storyline, because you just get caught up in everything else.
Except the sea life.
you don't get caught up in that.
Epidemic HD says, "Do you hate fish? You will love this game. Why? Just Cause 3." Seriously, let's hire the Player 3 podcast audience to do the marketing for these games, all right? Do you hate fish?
All right, okay. That's it. That's all I got.
Well done.
All right,
I was sitting there, I'm like, I'm going to say this, I'm going to say that. I said zero of what I planned.
Do you have anything that you want to mention?
No.
Any negatives other than the sea life?
Other than sea life? Not really.
Did you enjoy your time?
Yes. I've been waiting a long time for these past 4 minutes. And it was a lot of fun, guys. Thanks.
Can
You're
you
welcome.
tether-
Thanks for the memories.
Can you tether one car to another car?
Yes. What I tend to do is, like, when I have to blow up a giant building, I'll take a tanker or some vehicle, strap it, and as it's going up, it'll start breaking it down. Yeah. Ben, you have a question?
No, I'm
For
good.
the listeners, Luke had his
Oh,
hand
yes,
up.
what's up?
Can you tether an unstoppable force to an immovable object?
No, the tether actually has a strength point to where if you exceed it, it'll snap.
Can you tether a car to the top of a building?
Yes.
Wait, you just said that.
Yes.
So you
Literally.
weren't lying.
Huh?
You weren't lying.
No.
Can you
What I
tether?
tend to do is I'll have the car swing out and become a wrecking ball.
What are the
Came in like a
what are the goat physics like?
wrecking ball. Are there
They're
goats?
absurd. Like they'll blow things up.
Goats?
Yes. Goats and deer, if you tether them like a pretty good distance, they'll shoot like a rocket and blow everything up.
I resolved to finally buy Goat Simulator.
Worth it. Is there sea life?
No, it's just
It's
goats.
goats.
Just
No,
sea goats.
There may be. We'll
Space
see.
goats, coast to coast.
Goats and tractors.
Sea life, that's all I'm asking.
Hey, you gotta stay on this show, Diz.
Was that good?
Seth is you now.
Yeah, he's
That was
texting
pretty
somebody.
good. That was
Look
pretty
at him.
good.
He's probably
Let's,
texting
guys.
his girlfriend.
Well, let's make that it for the audio portion of the podcast. Stick around for the after party lounge. It's Larry's turn to go. We have a couple questions from Milky we're going to get to too. But let's go around the circle. Ben,
What? I'm not part of this.
Hey.
go ahead. Yeah, just do it like you're Seth. All right, go ahead.
And I'm going to give him. Okay.
Go ahead,
I'm
Ben.
gonna say it.
Ben.
So I was going.
Skip him.
I didn't know what to do. What do I need to do?
Your
Who
information.
you
I don't
are, where
understand.
they can find you.
Oh,
Driver's
my
license
name's
number,
Ben.
Social security number.
I am Notre Hankins. I don't ever get on Twitter.
What are you typing there?
Please, we need to monitor that before he sends it. I'm Who Bomb Trading on PlayStation. I'm Who Bomb Trading on Xbox. It's 3 words on Xbox, 1 word on PlayStation. I am starting my I'm continuing my stream on Tuesday. I had a couple days of hiatus
After he
from
calls
it.
Comcast today.
But I am continuing to stream. Yes. I resolved. That's another one. I resolved to actually have Comcast internet by next year.
That's a good one.
All right.
But I will be continuing my stream Tuesday. I'm not 100% positive what I'm playing Tuesday yet. Probably a little bit of Halo. Almost definitely Fallout.
All right.
Gotcha. You can find me on PSN at Buttzorz, Buttzorz, and Xbox Live at Dongzorz. Kind of have a monopoly on the lower body here.
Oh, you want to actually give Seth's phone number while you're
Yes.
here?
Oh,
Wait,
dang, I
what
don't have my
about
phone.
me? What about me?
All of you need to go
Huh?
still.
I was gonna no. I was just gonna get him to actually give his cell
Oh,
phone number.
oh,
out.
okay.
But go
I
ahead,
don't
since
have
you
my phone on
interrupted.
there.
Now the audience doesn't want it. The audience doesn't want it anymore.
Well, I don't like the audience, so
That's true.
I-
You heard it
I'm
here
kidding.
first.
I love you.
Phil
I love
Spencer
you.
says vicariously through Larry Hunt, quote, I do not like the audience.
I hear. Oh, look at that cute picture he's got of Seth.
Oh, man.
That's adorable.
I like it.
love that.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's really
Go ahead.
I'm Larry. I'm on Twitter at Lair Hunts Zombies, and I'll be streaming on
In a car
Tuesday
a
at
while
10.
ago. I don't know.
Okay, Larry's going, guys.
I went.
Oh.
That's it.
I'm Luke Croft. You can follow me on Twitter at TK from Antioch. That's all I'm going to give you this week. I'll be streaming on Wednesday this week. All right. We are the Player 3 Podcast. Watch us live on twitch.tv/play.
Stop.
The best part is it says high prices over top of it, too. Oh, man.
This is context.
All right. We are the Player 3 Podcast.
Player 3 Podcast. Boop, 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 boop. P3P.
All right. Seth, get around here and welcome him to the. Is he peeing again?
I have one on YouTube.
You have a problem, dude.
I have a. That's your picture.
Hello, all, and welcome to the Player 3 Party After Podcast Lounge,
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Merry Christmas.
where butt bucks
May the butt box flow freely.
Oh my
are spent
gosh.
wisely.
So if you got some topics
What in the
for us,
world is
cue
that?
those up in the chat. We'll
Let
get
me
to
see
those.
that. I think that beard.
But this is Larry's after party lounge. So Larry, you said you had a topic for us.
Right. So, in one of the greatest shows that doesn't exist anymore, Community, there's an episode.
Did I
Lost
get
it
picked
over?
up again by Yahoo?
I doubt it. They lost Yahoo a lot of money.
Nice.
A lot of money.
Like most other endeavors that Yahoo enters. Yes.
So maybe it won't hurt their chances because Yahoo's just
Yahoo's
used
like,
to-
we're used to this. This is our business model at this point. Sorry, go ahead.
So there's an episode of Community called Abed's Uncontrollable Christmas, where in order to cope with his crappy family life, Abed goes delusional, and the whole episode is one of those stop motion Christmas specials, you know? with like the plastic looking people. So,
I didn't realize it did either.
which one of those movies, those classic stop motion holiday films, is your favorite? And if you were forced to live inside of one, which one would it be? This may be the same for both. There may be two different answers. And why for both questions?
It's like the dolls, right? The stop motion's like the little doll, like
Yeah.
Rudolph.
I will
Yeah,
answer
yeah.
first because I am a man.
All right.
I don't like stop motion.
Gosh, that's my answer.
Shut up.
Seth.
I didn't mean that. Yeah, it creeps me out. I don't like Tim Burton films like that, like Coraline.
That's not a Tim Burton film, is it?
Yeah,
Is it?
isn't it?
It looks very
No, it
Tim
looks like-
Burton-esque.
With box trolls.
Is Johnny Depp in it?
I don't know, but all Tim Burton films, semicolon, Coraline,
Good use of
Frankenweenie.
semicolon.
Thank you.
Let me hang
Putting that
in.
degree to work. I don't like them. They creep me out. Stay away.
The question remains: if you were forced to live inside of one,
I would.
Kill myself.
I'd be forced to use my own hand. Not in the good way.
My God.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do.
Kill your.
No.
No.
I know, I
To
didn't know what he meant the
use
other way.
to use my own hand.
I said on.
Because it's twofold. You can kill yourself with your hand,
No, don't
Or you
explain. I
can-
get the other one.
or,
So it is kill yourself.
or experience pleasure.
What are my options here?
never
Rudolph,
seen-
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Frosty.
there's Rudolph. There's Rudolph's
Frosty's-
Shiny New Year. There's Frosty. There's
Frosty's an animated film. It's not stop.
Well, they have a
motion.
stop motion Frosty, don't they?
yeah.
Do they?
Character in.
Jack Frost.
I thought they told his story in a stop motion.
They do.
And then there's
animated.
Frosty the Snowman's Christmas in July. That's one. What else is there?
Jack Frost.
Yeah, and there's the one. Yeah, Jack Frost. Yeah, what's that one called? Year Without a Santa Claus. That's my favorite. I don't know why I don't know that one. Then there's the one that follows Santa Claus's story when he's a young redheaded man.
That is the same one, isn't it?
Is it?
Isn't that Santa Claus is coming to town?
Yeah, that's Santa Claus is coming to town.
I thought it was all the same one because it shows him as a baby growing up.
How are these universes different?
They're the same.
Yeah, they're the same.
Right.
Rudolph. What else is there?
I'm just gonna go.
Catch it. Catch it.
I'm just gonna go with Rudolph because that world is indicative of the real world where people don't like you until they need you.
Ouch. Ouch.
They're like, "Oh, look at you, you big fat person that has no chin because you're so fat. No one likes you. Oh, you need somebody to lead worship at camp. They love you."
Oh, Ben and I are devastated that you're not doing that, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I told him how much you hated him.
Larry, how about you?
My favorite of those classic stop motion films is The Year Without a Santa Claus. I really like the Heat Miser and his singing. But if I had to live in one, it would be The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Way
to pick a
crappy
No, that was my favorite. I changed my mind. That's my favorite, and I would live in the Santa Claus is Coming to Town.
Is that a Christmas
So
film?
he seems like a cool guy. I'd want to hang out with him.
Is Nightmare Before Christmas a Christmas film?
Yeah, man. It has Christmas in the title.
Oh,
It's
okay.
all about Christmas.
You know what makes a whole lot of sense?
What?
Baby Santa being a redhead. Because red hair turns white when you get older. It doesn't gray, it turns white. Unless you smoke a lot. Then it turns brown from the tar. So if you want to stop from going gray, smoke a lot of cigarettes.
I had a guy dressed up as Captain Tom last year for Halloween at the restaurant. It's called Captain Tom's. That's the joke. And we got a little picture of him in the crests, a little bearded white sea captain dude. Bad looking mother. He the guy like had a cotton beard, but every time he would go out for a smoke break, he would come back and his beard would be yellow, so he'd have to reapply the cotton. Nasty habit.
that all?
Yeah, that's it. Did you answer?
Did Ben answer?
No.
Answer.
You hate my question? We move on.
No,
I
I
don't
like your
care.
question.
I don't like your opinions.
I'd have to agree if we're counting Nightmare Before Christmas as a Christmas movie. That's my favorite stop motion Christmas movie. I'd have to say because that movie's that's genius. It's a genius movie, and Jack's real awesome. The Pumpkin King.
And who hasn't struggled with losing that sense of purpose in life?
Right.
All the kids
It's a
watching
monologue
it. That's who.
on the world we live in. But if I had to live in one, I think it would be the Jack Frost movie because I want to kill Jack Frost.
Jack Frost wasn't.
So you
stop
want to side with the bad guy in that movie?
Yep.
All right. I'll allow it.
All right.
Ooh.
Oh, go ahead.
motion. Wait, I thought
I
Jack
had thought
Frost
about
was
the
the
possibility
movie.
of like taking over one of those stop motion worlds.
Yes.
I thought Jack Frost
And
was
I
the
will
movie
be the
where
king.
the guy died and came back as a snowman.
That's
That's a
not
different-
stop motion. That's the
So there's a Jack Frost
What's
stop
his name?
motion.
Jack Nicklaus.
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton.
Am I doing the eyebrows right?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Please stop.
Son,
really
play this
off-putting.
harmonica and I'll be a snowman when I die. That's what the movie's about.
It is.
There's also a Jack Frost horror film about a snowman that comes to life and
That's
kills
stop
all the
motion.
Wait,
children.
I thought Jack Frost was the bad guy though.
I thought the bad guy made like mechanical things that were taking over the town, and Jack Frost came to help out because they would turn icicles into currency.
Couldn't he throw snowballs real fast? What
The
movie is
snowman? Yeah.
I'm
Michael
imagining
Keaton, Jack Frost.
I'm imagining in these stop motion movies that I'm not actually stop motion. I'm actually human, and I can.
That's
move
your first
and work
mistake.
Just like
Then
a
you don't
normal
stand
human.
a chance, though.
No, I can. I have wit. I just pull it because they're all cloth. You just pull the string on the cloth, and they all deflate.
that? How did Frosty in July work?
I don't remember.
Is he a Dairy Queen?
He was the Dairy Queen.
He had a.
welcome a new age Jack Frost film in which he comes back as a drag queen.
It's Jacqueline Frost.
He's out there like on the stage doing kick lines and then
And then he kills somebody with his car and wins Woman of the Year.
I like it.
That was a Caitlyn Jenner joke.
I don't understand.
Did she kill someone in her car?
Yeah. I don't think on purpose, but
But who really
Cares.
kills people on accident?
Who can really understand the mind of one of them people?
oh my
I don't mean that at all. I'm very open to that idea.
like personally?
No, well,
You just took like 2-3 viewpoints and smushed them into one.
Yeah.
you know, like,
You're making me uncomfortable.
can you? Let me cross my legs here.
Still. Oh, Milky emailed us.
Milky.
You guys are Seth and this guy Larry are going to have
I'm
no
Larry.
interest in this topic.
I will.
But he asks
I feel like
about
you're lying.
EA versus 2K.
Wait,
I'm gonna go cuddle with
is
this
Milky
for
a
now.
black man?
Does it matter?
No, he's
No,
not.
that's
I don't
awesome.
think.
I don't know. He's never told me what he identifies as.
I just always imagine like everyone that watches us are like tiny little white men with glasses.
Seth, you are being so
Oh my God.
racist.
Seriously. no. It's just Seth watching Seth. Is that what you're
Exactly, basically, yeah. Like I'm imagining a bunch of like me's but littler, like sitting here typing away at the computer.
They're having to
And
jump on the
I'm
keys.
glad that we have.
Like big.
Well, Milky did a whole lot of hopping to write this email. He says, reading the Take-Two Interactive Wikipedia page the other day, I noticed the Take-Two owns 2K Sports. I also remember that EA at one point tried to buy Take-Two for $2 billion and were turned down. Now, keep in mind the Cleveland Browns, Beats headphones, and the Dodgers were all bought for $2 billion. Star Wars was bought for $4 billion. So it appears the buyout was spearheaded by 2K's successful but very short-lived counter to Madden Sports. But back then, EA was the first last and only name in respected sports video games, but easy play mechanics, a big line of additional features, and a $20 price point was just too much to bear for EA. So EA cut the feet out from under 2K Sports and bought the football license, the NFL license, by making the now famous deal with the NFL and NFL Players Union. Now it seems the tide has turned to 2K, who has now become the go-to name for sports games. EA's poor showings in NBA, NHL, and baseball coming in second to a series that only sells to PS3 and PS4. EA is not the juggernaut it once was. So this brings me to my question. I ask if you, being a fan of Madden and an EA Access subscriber, what does EA have to do to turn this around and become the go-to name in sports once again? Or is it too late and they made the right call by buying PopCap Games and going mobile? And in the meantime, what does 2K have to do to bring back baseball and football and finally topple the empire that was EA Sports? All right. You get all that?
That's a loaded. Yeah, it's a lot of.
I want to talk a little bit, somewhat, about the history of this rivalry, because the only two things that 2K did better than EA, were the year that they did NFL Football 2K5, ESPN NFL 2K5, and the NBA 2K franchise. But it was 1 year of NFL games that they did better. And Madden 2005 was a super strong iteration of that game that sold incredibly well still. Now, the $20...
I apologize, Lord. Lord of the podcast.
And then 2K, NBA 2K is obviously better. He hung up the call. But what we have to remember is that 2K's baseball game and NHL game were awful.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible. And EA's NHL offering, other than last year, was considered to be one of the better sports franchises out there. FIFA continues to be one of the probably the strongest in terms of sales for a sports franchise. So, the idea that 2K has any kind of a footing to trump EA Sports as the top dog is a little misled, because there's really only one franchise that they continue. And did you play All Pro Football 2K8 when it came out?
Mm-mm.
It wasn't a good game, and it wasn't just because of the licensing. Like, the game in and of itself was not a good game.
So they didn't have any player likenesses or anything in that game?
Yeah, they had no licensing at all with it. And the thing about it is, like, that was 11 years ago at this point. 11 years ago. And all this talk that, like, if 2K can just bring back football, it's going to be so great. But we're not guaranteed it's going to go the NBA 2K route.
Right.
It could just as much go the NHL 2K route or the MLB 2K route, to the point where they just ported over a roster updated version of the last 2K that they released. It had virtually no new features in it, because they were like, we're not going to dump a bunch of money into it because we're already getting outsold by not an EA game. But the MVP baseball franchise, MVP Baseball 2004, is still my favorite baseball game. And for some reason, they lost the licensing for the MLB products and weren't able to do it anymore. So I don't know if there is a chance 2K can do it. But what are your thoughts?
Well, why are we focusing on trying to topple different sports for 2K? Like, I think 2K they do well with NBA. They've got that pretty locked down, and you know, EA has FIFA and Madden and NHL, but I don't know that I'd put that up there with the heavy hitters. I know NHL is a popular game with some people, but I just don't. I mean, those three categories: soccer, football, and basketball, are the top video gaming games I would think that they're looking at. Now, I would say, like, 2K trying to come up with a competing soccer game would maybe be good. I don't know that you're going to do anything with FIFA like that. There's no. I don't think you can do anything to topple that. And I really don't think you can do anything to topple Madden. I don't see there's any way of doing it.
Well, it would be pointless for 2K to try to do a soccer game because the licensing is so awful. Like PES, Pro Evolution Soccer, is a great soccer title, but they only have licensing for a couple different leagues. Like, they don't have full FIFA licensing, and so they suffer because of it.
Right.
And 2K, 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 Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, along that same line, like where EA does not have a solid offering is in the baseball side of things, and I think 2K, that's where 2K could step in and start working towards trying to at least even themselves up with EA. I think 2K. I think they have a good backing within themselves to be able to remain successful with the basketball side. But having a baseball competitor that they can release for like Xbox, where PlayStation's got MLB The Show, I don't know that they can come close to competing with the quality of the show right now. But it would give them a way to stay more relevant sports wise and remain in that argument with EA. Because right now, I mean, I don't know that EA is. I think he mentions in the email that EA's fallen off. They're falling from their former glory. I don't know that that's true. I mean, EA. I mean, they're very. They're still very active in the sports world. Like they still have a lot. I mean, still have a lot of good offerings. And I know that EA Access. One of the big reasons I bought that was so I could have the previous year's FIFA every year and be able to do those things. So.
Yeah, I would argue it's fallen off. It had a huge fall off in quality in the Madden franchise, and it's had a fall off just in the sense of NBA Live has been just a mess for almost a decade at this point. Like, and they've righted the ship a lot with Madden. It's nowhere near the game it could be. And they righted the ship with NHL. So I don't think they've necessarily fallen off. And Madden and FIFA were on the NPD again 2 months after its release.
Right.
And they rake in tons of money through Madden Ultimate Team. But anyway, all right. I don't want to harp on that too long because I know sports game stuff is niche. Wanted to bring this question up to you because I thought this was good. He says, I wanted to know if you guys knew about the Hitman reboot and beta coming in February. This is a big deal to me as I'm a latecomer to the Hitman series and like the last entry a lot. But a reboot already? Is Square Enix following the Lara Croft boat, or is that the hip new thing to reboot your series in a grab for new fans, not failure with your franchise, and maybe we're jumping into a series that they don't know the origins of? Essentially what he's asking is, do we think that the rebooting thing is a good idea and that it's kind of the new thing to do? I think about Mirror's Edge, and that's a reboot of that universe. Like, it's not a direct sequel because it was such a... Like, it had such a cult following, and it requires a reboot, especially when people may not that's released on both consoles. So the backwards compatibility route is only an option for Xbox owners. So it would make no sense to try to build a sequel off a game that was well received, but maybe not well purchased and well adopted.
Yeah. I don't think it's necessary. I think it just depends on the game, I guess, is what I feel like. Like, Mirror's Edge makes sense to me. Tomb Raider even makes sense to me. Like, I know that it's this iconic thing, but it's something that I never touched. And I'm more interested in this new Tomb Raider than I was in buying another sequel for a game I knew nothing about. So, yeah, I guess it just depends on the game for me. That's all.
I'm with you on that because I think there's some games that deserve reboots. There's some games that I think are for the younger gamers on this generation of console that didn't have the chance to experience those previous games. Like I remember some of the old Hitman games, and Hitman kind of draws my mind back to Splinter Cell. I remember some of those games, and those games were awesome. They were so much fun. But I think the newest Splinter Cell is like 10 years old, maybe. I don't know if that may not be true. I know it's old.
It's old,
though.
though.
Yeah, it's pretty old. And I know most fans aren't going to go back to play that, especially if their main console is a console of this generation. There's no way that they're going to experience those kind of games. And those are kind of games that were iconic for their time period. And I think a reboot is deserving of those sections of games. I think about a reboot I'd really love to see. I doubt that is ever going to happen. Is the Jak and Daxter series? I'd love to see that come to this console, even if it's just arcade type. That would be an excellent thing to see because that's such an iconic game for me. I don't know how big of a game that is for other people, but even the fact that I've beat Jak and the whole series each game 3 or 4 times, and I still want to play it is just it's more the nostalgia thing than it is the getting to experience it again for me. And I have to caution myself when I talk about reboots because I get caught up in nostalgia a lot of times. So I don't think that it's inherently bad to have the reboot stuff. I think it, like you said, I think it just depends on what games you're talking about and what your goal is behind rebooting the games.
And I think sometimes the reboot, I'm trying to think of an example of this, but I feel like sometimes the reboot is really just a completely different game, but we've slapped the same characters into it to sell the game. And I wish some studios would be willing to just try something new. Like Ubisoft, initially, Assassin's Creed was going to be another Prince of Persia sequel, but they realized they had something else altogether here, and they went that route of they tried a new IP instead. And it was a little easier for them because the Prince of Persia franchise was not doing well at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that if it had been doing a little better and they had stuck with the Prince of Persia route, we wouldn't have a great series of games today.
Right.
Yeah, he brings up Spider-Man in this. You had not the Tobey Maguire, the Andrew Garfield.
Oh, so
Spider-Man.
he's not just talking games.
He's just talking reboots in general.
Okay, that changes what I think. But you go ahead.
But I think you reboot for several reasons. You reboot, number one, to motivate an entire new audience to jump into something that may have so much history behind it that there's no way they could catch up if they've never been a part of it before. I think that's part of the issue. That was part of the issue with Metal Gear for years, is that the lore was so deep and the story was so convoluted, and it never really went through a reboot. So there's not 27 years, probably 20 years of history with Metal Gear Solid to go through, that people were intimidated by buying one that had any sort of a number attached to it. We saw the same thing with The Witcher, like where it was The Witcher 3 and it came tied off of this franchise, but it was PC exclusive for the first game. Not a lot of people played The Witcher 2, and so what they tried to do was move the 3 down underneath the logo. You remember that? And they set it into the back of the logo so that it really didn't pop, because people get intimidated by it. Like, how am I going to jump into the third iteration of a game where I haven't played the previous ones? Metal Gear Solid 5, any of those sorts of things. Like, and when you get to that point where it's like, man, the sequel is affecting the sales numbers in a negative way, you need to have that reboot. Now, the Spider-Man reboot, and if I have this incorrect, correct me, but there was an entire reset to the Marvel universe, right? That took place, huh? I'm talking the Marvel. Oh, is it Spider-Man DC?
No.
Spider-Man's Marvel.
No, but the Marvel movie universe.
Oh, the movie universe.
There was a complete reboot to that a couple years ago, right?
I don't think so.
Nothing.
I'm not sure.
Let me look this up. Like I said, I don't want to speak out of it. Universe reboot.
Well, when they brought the Avengers.
That's right. I was like, what does the C stand for? Cinematic. That brought up all the same things.
Oh, so their comics have had some kind of reboot.
Yeah.
Post Infinity War. Oh, okay. Now I got it. Some wonky stuff happened there. So they've kind of pulled the same thing New 52 pulled. Not quite as drastic, I don't think, but maybe. I don't follow Marvel quite as much.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
The whole series, they did all kinds of weird stuff with the Infinity War.
So what was the point in the reboot of Spider-Man? Because I thought it just came on the tail end of a total reboot.
You mean going from Tobey Maguire to...
No, going from Andrew Garfield to whoever's going to be playing the new one when he shows up.
The complicated nature of navigating film rights.
Okay.
So Garfield, he can't, even though Spider-Man, the character, is going back to Marvel, Garfield's Spider-Man can't go to Marvel for some reason. I don't fully understand all of it.
Okay.
So Sony had Spider-Man.
That's
for a while.
right. That's what it was.
Yeah. Diz pulled up the guide, which is just as complicated.
Yeah. So, but and I guess sometimes the reboot has to do with that. Like, like the rights that you have and the storytellers that you bring in, or if the story gets so convoluted at a point where it's like we can't really, and it's so complicated in like a comic book universe where there's so much crossover. It's like, how do we make that make sense in this storyline of another character? And so I don't necessarily think that it's like a trendy kind of thing that you have to do. I think it's a necessary thing that you have to do. I should have just stuck to the video game part of the conversation because I understand that part of it.
And even the Maguire reboot, I mean, if we're going to go into why things happen, like they tried to pressure Sam Raimi into taking the movie in a direction he didn't want to go. And that's why the third one sucked. Venom, he didn't even want Venom in that movie. They made him put it in there. And then he winds up off the project, and they had to just start over because the whole thing was a train wreck.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. All right.
But yeah, there are too many reboots and sequels. It goes back to that American Ultra conversation.
Word. All right. Well, I'm going to go check the meat because
Is it cooking now?
it's cooking
Meat.
now. Yeah,
Oh.
it's slow cooking. We're having a nice beef brisket tonight
For the Christmas dinner.
and some grilled chicken for your wife
Thank you.
and for other people. But yeah, for your
Well,
wife.
mainly so my wife doesn't die from this meal.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're going to get out of here. Thank you for the questions, Milky. Seth's telephone number, by the way, if you're wondering. Get your pen.
276.
It's
Sorry, I interrupted
276.
you.
No, you're good.
Get your pen and paper.
276. Get your pen ready. 276